Yo, 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 what is up, everybody? Chris here from Big Sports News, Axe Rotation, however the flip you know, man, these interwebs. And today I'm going to be bringing you guys my Major 2 bracket. So, not trying to make this the longest bracket of all time like I usually do. Not another 30-minute video. I'm just a little under the weather this week. And, it's a large undertaking for a large man such as
Pause.
myself. So, we're not doing that today. But what we are doing, ladies and gentlemen, is we're getting right into the play-in bracket where we will see RenKoR taking on the Vancouver Surge, Joe Deceives, Kips, Insight, and Kleenex. I think they will keep dancing in Major 2. I think Vancouver Surge with Capsidal, they've looked much improved. But honestly, the little bit of stick bundle that they were able to pull together last week in that Riyadh Falcons win was just emblematic of the fact that it was online and, they really needed to secure that win to make sure that there was no, like, tiebreaker cheese between them and Boston Breach, excusez-moi. But especially on LAN, Kips, his first showing, I think he will be settled in. I think they beat them 3-1. I don't think it'll be a surprise series. I think it'll just be a pretty fun, very competitive in-map series, but I think it'll be a 3-1 for the RenKoR based on everything that we've seen. Now, looking at the Carolina Royal Ravens versus Paris Gentleman series, I think the Gentlemen shake off the cobwebs on LAN. I think they're a team that when the lights are brightest, they really rise to the occasion, and I just feel like Carolina, they have made a lot of improvements, but I just feel like it's been a lot of Lurqxx, a lot of Craze, Exceed, and Nero contributing sometimes, but a lot of just Lurqxx being amazing and looking for a lot of help. There hasn't been a lot of consistent teamwork or anything that fundamentally makes me think that Carolina has improved considerably, where I would feel strongly that they can take this series. So I have it as Gelmates 3-1. So that means moving into WR1, as we like to call it, or Winners Round 1, we will have Miami Heretics and Gentlemates in the bottom half of the bracket. And then we will have the LA Thieves and FaZe Vegas in the bottom half of the bracket as well. So I am honestly, I'm going to rock with FaZe Vegas here. I'm going to rock with them here. They've been a disappointment many a Friday in recent years, right? They've been winners round one disappointments ever since Vanguard. They've just kind of lost that mojo of being the winners round one winners consistently. But I do think that against LA Thieves, they've looked quite good recently. I feel like FaZe, they've definitely figured out in their map pool they like to play Blackheart. They're starting to figure out Den and other maps a little bit more, get their comfort. Thieves, they're definitely starting to look like some heavy hitters on maps like Colossus, as well as Den, finding their comfort with Neum. Neum's looking like a superstar, looking like an absolute shooter, but Draza's getting more comfortable, so is 04. I think FaZe, I feel like they're just hitting a relative peak that's slightly a little bit higher than LA Thieves right now. And that round robin stage, I have to say, Daniel saying the boys, they cooked. I have a much better idea of how I feel about the teams, and it feels way more clear to me how I wanted to call everything. A lot less, like, a lot less of a hang up for any of these calls I'm making, right? Speaking of hang-ups, I think the Miami Heretics are going to pick up the phone in Europe, and the Gentlemates will not be home, baby. I think it'll be a game 4 victory for the Miami Heretics. I think the cracks that we saw from the Gentlemates, all of the personal issues that they've had out of game, all of that, I think it will transfer over to this LAN performance. I think that they've been dealing with some pretty serious things. I don't know what they've been dealing with, but I think the gravity of it is pretty serious. So I just don't have the Gentlemates getting very far in this tournament, if I'm being honest with you, just because I feel like when real life kind of takes over, it's very hard to focus, and I don't want to put that on those guys. That's just not fair. So, speaking of not fair, we have OpTic Texas taking on RenKoR. Ref, do something. Nah, I'm joking. All jokes aside, though, I think it'll be pretty competitive on LAN this series, but I do think OpTic Texas are defending world champs, looking to be the best team in the game, looking to be the clear-cut number one team to win this event, clear-cut favorite, 10-1 in the Major 2 stage, defending world champs. I mean, they were almost perfect at the last event. They lost 3 maps to lose the event. The 3 maps they lost were the ones that lost in the. I'm sorry, the 4 maps they lost were the ones that lost in the event. Literally, they didn't lose a single map to the grand finals. So they're looking to match perfection again. To this point, they've lost what 5 series in the entire season. So they're having one of the best seasons of all time. 73-9 Warriors type shit. You know what it is. I mean, they had the ring. They're defending the ring from 2 years ago. Shit. I mean, this is going to be their third year defending the ring. That's fucking insane. So let's give OpTic their proper due, their respect. I mean, let's book them straight to winners round 2 because I don't know how, but they'll get there. That's just what it's been looking like this year. Now, speaking of who meets them there, I think G2 versus Riyadh is going to be a question of who shows up that day. The thing is, the story of this stage has been Riyadh Falcons showing up when we least expect them to, and G2 crumbling when we expect them to make that next logical step, especially against a team like Riyadh. Let's see how it went down between these two. That'll give us real insight on how I expect this to go. So last time they played, Minnesota took it 3-2, right? But they've played 2 times and they're split. So they played 6 maps. Each team has taken 5. I'm sorry, they played 10 maps. Each team has taken 5. So Pred stand out in this one, Estriel. Pred stand out in this one, and then Skies this time. So Pred loves this series. G2 got the get back in February. Man, coin flip. I'm gonna say Exnid in Europe is a demon, bro. I'm gonna say Exnid goes crazy. I'm just gonna script it. You guys know I am a big Exnid lover in the last few weeks, months, whatever. I've just been believing in this guy, and that boy Saud, he's been doing his thing. So, vamos to the Riyadh Falcons. And speaking of vamos, we are going to kick things off with our Friday elimination matches, where we'll see the LA Thieves taking on the Gentlemates, and then we'll see Koi taking on G2. Ooh, interesting. These are going to be some hard calls to make. G2 versus LA Thieves at the major. Yeah, I think this is where the Gentlemates, I think this is where their run stops. I mean, they're in Europe. I feel like everyone's going to pray for the Cinderella story, but like, you can't really go with narratives too much. You have to go with what looks to be the most likely. And based on recent form, I feel like a LA Thieves win is most likely. Abizi, Hydra, Scrap, and Yam, they've been finding their comfort level, and I feel like it's going to be hard to beat them. Toronto Koi, with Kips, I feel like they just look a step ahead of G2 in terms of everything that we've seen. Even if they're worse, it looks like Toronto, just based on the maps that they get, are more consistent overall than G2 is. Like G2, they could get a map set that's favorable to them and still come out and look like shit. So, I mean, that's kind of that. In my mind, it just comes down to who's better consistently, right? And for me, if we're going to say 10 times out of 10, who am I taking? I'm taking Koi 10 times out of 10 in this scenario. Some of you may think I'm faded, but that's just how I see it right now. So that ends our Friday with the elimination round 1 matches where I would see the LA Thieves and Toronto Koi making it through. So moving on to winners round 2, we kick that off on Saturday at 10 a.m., bright and early, where we'll kick it off with OpTic Texas taking on the Riyadh Falcons. I don't think Lightning strikes twice. Pred and Shotzi, Thunder and Lightning. Lightning, that being, of course, Shotzi, because Pred is the Thunder from Down Under. I don't know why it took me a second. The Thunder struck first, but you hear the Thunder and see the Lightning, right? In this scenario, I guess. Usually see the Lightning, then you hear the Thunder, but anyways, we heard the Thunder. We heard Pred. He made a big, big shake in Stage 2 with that victory over them, 3-1. But I think Shotzi will have a bigger shake when it matters. I think he shakes up the room at Major 2. I think he shakes up Europe. And I think OpTic Texas. I think they get a Game 5. I think it'll be a fun one. I think somehow, some way, the Riyadh Falcons force a Game 5 against all odds. Put OpTic up against the wall like Itachi to young PTS Sasuke. And I think that's that. Now, speaking of people being held up against the wall, like young PTS Sasuke, if you remember, FaZe versus Miami Heretics was a very hot rivalry last season. But I think I think they got it right now. I think Miami, especially with that European crowd at their backs, I feel like they're going to get it done here. I think they'll get a surprising win over FaZe Vegas. FaZe has been looking quite vulnerable in a lot of the modes that Miami has been improving considerably in. Their overload has looked very good. FaZe overload looks good, but I feel like when those two teams match up, I feel like Miami's will be a little bit more sticky. I feel like Miami's hardpoint pool considerably is way larger than FaZe's. Blackheart is also a strong map for Miami. I feel like it probably would be stronger for them than it would be for FaZe. I also just like the way that Trakes is playing counter to 04. I feel like as well, Super is a super hard counter to Draza, and then RenKoR is eating Abuza alive. So I think the only matchup that's being won is Simp Metals in terms of matchups. So I think Miami have them outclassed here. I think it'll be a 3-1. I don't even think they need to get it done in the S&Ds because their S&D is just that good. And I think they'll take the map 2. I think they take the map 1. And I take the map 4. So that means that FaZe would drop down to play Kips and Koi. I think FaZe, I think they go up. I think they take Joe down. And I think they book themselves another top 4. I think the Riyadh Falcons, I think this is a hard one to call. How did it go when they played? Riyadh 3-0'd the shit out of them. God damn. Who got fried? Cell took over. X went crazy. It was close. You know how I feel about rubber matches, guys. We're thinking Thieves. We're thinking Thieves. I hate rubber matches. I usually think that the team that wins the first match loses the second match. Call of Duty is a game of adjustments. And you know, I'm an unbiased content creator at this point, so I'm going to have to eat my words pretty soon. God damn, Sunday starts at 8 a.m. my time? Hell nah. Hell nah. On the Lord's Day, bro. Alright, let's stay focused so we can get up out of here in a reasonable amount of time and my pizza does not burn in the oven. Damn, bro. I really had FaZe winning this, but I think FaZe make it. I think they make it deep. I do. I really do. I do. I think their S&D is looking good. I feel like teams like Miami and OpTic are just a step ahead right now, but I think FaZe, dude, please don't call me Delulu and make me wrong, but I just feel like FaZe is going to win this. A BZ on LAN. Everybody's been saying they've been looking really good in scrims. I feel like those scrims are going to translate really well to this LAN, especially since there are fewer teams to warm them up. I feel like it's just going to be whatever you have to bank on from your performance in practice right now. So, yeah, I think FaZe take this. I think they take this. So let's rock with FaZe there. We'll say that OpTic, it's a major. Let's go with the crazy one. I never do crazy ones. You know what? I'm feeling it right now. It's major 2. It's been a crazy week. I've had an insane recovery. I'm just making a fun video now. No, we're not controlling our official. You know what? It's been that kind of year, guys. You know what? Call of Duty's been insane this year. It's been that kind of year. We're going with our gut. We've seen a lot of matches. I feel like somehow, some way, Miami get. Chat. I have this scripted. I said that Blackheart it gets through and Miami upsets OpTic on it. We're calling it right now. We're sending that home. Send it. So in terms of OpTic Texas versus FaZe. You know what? The cracks are beginning to show. I think in Europe, I think we get a new champion. And you know what? I think Dempsey FPS will be quite happy to see the Miami Heretics stand atop the CDL landscape. I'm just going to call it. I'm going to book Miami to win this. It's in Europe. They're truly our only full European squad outside of Toronto with, of course, Insight and Kleenex. I'm going to book it. I think Miami, I think in Birmingham, I think they take it. I think on Herm, sounded like I'm from Memphis. On home turf, I think the Spaniards will be buffed. I think they'll be locked in. And I think they win 4-2 against FaZe Vegas. I don't know how. I don't know why. I just feel like Miami's been the best team in the stage this season. I'm sorry, this season. In stage 2, I feel like when we look back in retrospect, it'll be like, yeah, it should have been clear that Miami had a good chance to take it. I'm calling shot right now. Miami Heretics, lock it in. This is going to be my bracket, y'all. you know, this is it. Hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night. Let's enjoy Major 2. It's going to be a great tournament, just like Major 1. Hope you guys have a great morning, noon, or night, like I always say. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Once again, this is Chris from Fake Sports News Extra Rotation. However the flip you know me. And enjoy Major 2. See you guys next week with an update. Peace. Look it in. Alright. Peace real.